Today, I want to talk about some of those very little known secrets that even most doctors don't know about when it comes to exercise. Exercise, real exercise, can create the apoptosis in cancer cells, literally kill cancer cells, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol. And I'm going to get into exactly what I mean by real exercise. Before we get started, please download my free PDF guide that is going to teach you everything you need to know to get all of the benefits from exercise. You'll also be getting an email every week and all of my announcements for a whole entire 5-hour course that I'm going to be releasing next week to help you get all of these amazing results that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So what most people don't know about exercise is that when we contract the muscles in a very productive way, when we use our musculature contracting the deepest way possible, the most amount of health benefits happen. And how does this happen? It happens by secreting myokines into the body. Myokines are anti-inflammatory cytokines that can work in a few different ways, but all you really need to know here is that they're responsible for the majority of health benefits that we even get from exercise. Here's the problem. A lot of people think that if we are just to walk or just to jog or to do things of this nature, then we're actually creating some sort of amazing benefit for ourselves. The problem is that this really doesn't contract the muscles in a deep, meaningful, or intense manner. It doesn't challenge the body in a way that produces a positive biological response. And so what we want to do is intensely work the body so that we can get those benefits from myokines, which they do amazing things. They lower our blood pressure, they lower our cholesterol. They create the apoptosis, the self-destruction cycle in cancer cells. They fight dementia. They reverse osteoporosis. My mom has reversed her osteoporosis all the way to the beginning stages of osteopenia. And some of the reports say it's something like 22% change in bone density, which is just absolutely miraculous, is what some people would say, but this is what we've learned with the most modern research since 2008, when we discovered the very first myokine. I have a lot of really controversial thoughts when it comes to doctors, that some doctors will just ignore all of this research. Some doctors don't know about it. But when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, I'm almost certain that that's the biggest reason that this information isn't as widespread as it should be. And I know that I'm barking up a little bit of a conspiracy theory tree here, but it becomes very obvious to me and to the clients that I've worked with when they've seen the amazing health benefits that come from using this methodology, this high-intensity strength training, which I've coined in my workout the longevity safe workout, because that's exactly what it is. It's the life-giving workout that's safe for people of all ages. And I tell people as well, what I've really been doing for the past 7 years is working in the field of kinesiology applied to gerontology, the movement of the human body applied to the study of aging. And so what we really want, we don't want to just live longer. We want to live a completely free life where we're able to get around and have a high quality of living. I know that I want that for everybody that I know, and I know that most of you want that as well. I was sent an article by a good friend of mine, William Lee, and it was written by Dr. Doug McGuff. He's the author of the book Body by Science that I'll talk a little bit more in this video upcoming here. And he was saying, Dr. McGuff is that there is a huge liability issue as well for doctors. If they are to promote strength training, then they are under a liability to where they could very easily get sued. Again, this is this is really tricky stuff, because what we're talking about in this methodology that I instruct, that I teach people, we're talking about the greatest preventative medicine on planet Earth. So some doctors may be afraid of that liability, and that's completely understandable. But there are some, of course, who are just concerned about making the money from those pharmaceuticals. And of course, it does take all kinds. I have a few good doctor friends, and of course, they're ethical practitioners. So many are, and then so many, unfortunately, aren't. The effects of exercise are so many and so widespread. When I say exercise, I do mean this method specifically, this longevity-safe methodology that I work with. You know, when people talk about obesity being the modern epidemic, they're actually not really right, because obesity is just one simple side effect of sarcopenia. So in 1980, the medical term sarcopenia entered our dictionary, and all it means is the loss of muscle mass over time. When we turn 27, 25, we start losing about a half a pound of muscle every year. And then when we age 55, we'll lose a whole pound of muscle every year after, if we're not doing strength training of this nature. It's the most productive. So this sarcopenia, this loss of muscle mass, is responsible for so many of the chronic illnesses getting worse over time, and we can mitigate this if we do strength training. A really fantastic story from the book Body by Science. Dr. McGuff's co-worker had severe emphysema, and he had to be put on a respirator, and Dr. McGuff convinced him to get on a respirator, and he felt a little guilty about it because his coworker was confined to a wheelchair for a very long time after that, and it was difficult for him to even go out and check the mail or do anything of that nature. He had to sit down for long periods of time, and eventually he decided out of the blue to visit Ultimate Exercise, Dr. McGuff's training facility, and try this method that I also work with. And in a very short amount of time, they were able to double his strength. And so what's happened to him is that his respiratory system only had to do a half of the work that it once had to do to support him. He never had to be in a wheelchair again. He threw away his wheelchair completely, and he was able to live another full 5 years of life, going on cruises with his wife, walking around perfectly, a very high quality of living. That's what we're looking for. If you are in some sort of tragic car accident or had a failed surgery, the amount of time that it takes you to reach organ failure and die is directly linked to how much muscle mass that you have on your body. The more muscle you have, you'll have that continued resilience to be able to withstand chronic illnesses and even maintain your life if your organs are failing in a deeper manner. So it takes half the motor units to support your organs than it once did if you were to double your strength, which is immensely powerful. And most doctors, again, don't know about this, unfortunately. Now I'll leave you with another thought, and this is an incredible story about the same thing. Around 2007, this was published work by Dr. Simon Milov. He's a geneticist that works at the Buck Institute, and they study gerontology, the study of aging. They put people through just 6 months of strength training, and what they found was the modern-day fountain of youth. They recorded there were about 596 genes that were associated with aging. Out of a good large amount, this was the amount that deteriorated over time to the point to where they could see that this right around 600 genes in the younger participants, they were biologically younger. And then in the older participants, they had aged and were dying, literally genes that were dying. What they found is that with just 6 months of actually inferior strength training to what we do instruct in this method, 179 of those genes were made biologically younger. This is incredible. And nothing except for strength training has ever shown a molecular reversal of aging until now. So what we should have seen in the medical industry, even in the fitness industry, is people just overwhelmed with joy and so happy that we found the modern day fountain of youth, but it really was just crickets. And that's crazy because most of our literature, in fact, even in speeches, Dr. McGuff says, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest work of fiction written in ancient Sumer, was about the seeking out the fountain of youth. And then when we find it, unfortunately, everybody just seems to ignore it. So this really is a call to action. Again, you can just download my guide and begin this, pass it along to someone, give them this link to this video to help them. I will tell you this, the folks that I've worked with have benefited so immensely from this. I've had at least 5 clients completely reverse their osteoporosis. I've had way over 5 lower their blood pressure. A couple have gotten off blood pressure meds completely. I've seen a lot of really miraculous things happen in the 7 years that I've been instructing this one-on-one. And so I'm putting all of these principles together, and I'm teaching people how they can do this, even in their 90s, in a gym with a $10 a month gym membership, and be able to get all of these benefits. So the course is going to be released next week, but that free guide, it's down below in the comments section and in the description box. So I hope that you'll take advantage of this opportunity and at least just download that free PDF and get on my mailing list so I can help you even more. And all of this is about you and helping you live a longer life through the power of strength training. I'll see you on the next video. My name is John Gentry, JG for short, and my channel is Safe Fitness Training. Talk to you soon.